Welcome to Aggressive Science. The inspiration for today's video comes from my friend Jenny over at Geekgasm. She made a list of the top 10 90s sitcoms. There's very few things in this world I love more than 90s sitcoms, except the phony science in 90s sitcoms. The subject up for examination today is Family Matters. A lot of people don't actually know this was a spin-off of another one of my favorite 90s sitcoms, Perfect Strangers. Don't be ridiculous. Harriet Winslow, the mother in Family Matters, actually operated an elevator in the show Perfect Strangers. There was a day when elevators weren't automated. We live in the future, people. Specifically, we'll be looking at the 8th episode of the 5th season of Family Matters, in which Steve Urkel is told by the love of his life, Laura Winslow, that he's super annoying and that if he really wants to be with her, he's going to need to change who he is, which I think we can all agree is pretty correct. Steve creates Cool Genes, which is a juice that he can drink, and it changes his DNA, and it turns him into this guy, Stefan Urkel, a man so cool it changed the spelling of his last name. Later in the season, episode 24 to be exact, he created something called the trans chamber. He turned his cool genes into something called cool juice. He would put the cool juice into the trans chamber, step in, and come out with a change of clothes and a different personality. This got rid of all of the side effects of becoming Stefan Urkel. The trans chamber is iconic for this TV show. If you remember anything about Family Matters, you probably remember the seasons and the episodes in which they used the trans chamber. So eventually, in the 8th or 9th season, Steve Urkel manages to accidentally clone himself, which solves the problem of whether he should be Steve or Stefan. They take one of the clones, turn him into Stefan, and problem solved. I should have said spoilers. Brett, is the spoiler statute for Family Matters over?
Yep.
They all die. No, they don't. And later on in the very last season, season 9, they changed the actress who was playing the mother. Don't do that, you people out there in TV land. Yeah, I'm talking to you, makers of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We weren't fooled for more than like 5 or 6 minutes. So what are we talking about today? DNA. Well, thanks to Jurassic Park and this guy, we know quite a bit about DNA already, or deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA is a molecule that resides in the nucleus of our cells, and it tells the cells how to grow and what to become. DNA is responsible for the shape of your ear, the color of your eye, your hair color. DNA is responsible for gingers. DNA was originally discovered in 1868 by a man named Friedrich Miescher, proving once again that having a beard makes you better at science. I tried it once. It didn't really work out too well. This is the very familiar shape of DNA. It's called a double helix. You'll probably recognize it. It's in this shape for a very specific reason. DNA is made up of something called nucleotides, and there are 4 of them. They are made up of nitrogen, sugars, and something called phosphates. The 4 different versions are what we call the alphabet of DNA. A, C, G, and T. And they bond together using something called weak hydrogen bonds. And together they spell out words or long sentences. Contrary to what you might believe, it's not actually impossible to change or destroy somebody's DNA. That's what happens when we discuss things like radiation. To change DNA in the case of Steve Urkel, his cool genes would not only have had to break down his current DNA and reposition all of the letters in a different order to spell something new, but would have had to undo what the DNA had already instructed his cells to become. That's not to say it would have been impossible, but most likely he would have just ended up a gurgling, bleeding puddle on the floor. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you like this sort of thing, check out my articles on aggressivecomics.com or head on over to fightforscience.org for more science-related videos.